So you started in May, your first VA you hired. What does the team look like now? You said you've got 7, is that right?
I have 5 sourcers, where one of them is a purchasing manager. I'm training another one of the sourcers to be a purchasing manager for the USA. And then I've got a full-time admin and I have a full-time purchaser. So I actually only just brought on the purchaser for Q4 because I was thinking, my purchasing manager is my best sourcer, best at analyzing, manages everything, but she's spending like 6 hours a day doing purchasing and it makes 0 sense. So yeah, I got a purchaser to come on board, do the purchasing, which then freed up her time and my time, and then our spend just went even higher. So yeah, that's the employee structure right now. The way I'm kind of doing it is that I'm over hiring right now because I want to move VAs to USA. So I can train them, I can use the UK as a training grounds for the USA. So when they go to the USA, they'll be like ready to go and be amazing from the start because they're able to leverage all the support in the UK group, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Wow, fantastic. So just talk me through the time, that obviously you've built an impressive team in a short space of time, May through to December. Just give me an idea of like what months and how many did you hire? So how long have you had them?
Okay.
If someone's looking to maybe replicate your success, and I appreciate now you said you're over hiring, investing in the future, Amazon USA. May was the first one. Was it 1 or 2?
So I think initially I hired 2 VAs myself in I had a part-time VA in January, just helped me out with printers. And then I tried bringing on a sourcer on Feb, but I never really done it. I never really gave them support and they wasn't good at it either. So I'd never really counted that. But then once I left my job in April, in that month, I got 3 VAs from yourself and I brought an admin VA. So from April, I had 4 VAs coming out that 1 month. So I spent an hour with each of them every single day. So I was spending 4 hours in just VA, like talking and stuff. I guess if you include the gaps between the calls, it's probably a bit longer. And that went on for about 1.5 months. Then one of the VAs wasn't performing how I like, so I fired one. I also a long time fired the other ones who I brought on at the start. So then I had 3 VAs. I think a couple of months after, I was starting up the USA business. So I got another 2 VAs for USA and 1 VA for UK. I think that put me back at 6. And then the USA, I rushed that too early, so I pivoted the VAs back to UK, started sourcing in UK. Then yeah, that's just kind of like, and now they've just grown and grown and grown. It's been a bit all over the show in some ways, because quite a lot of the time I'm trying to do too much, when in reality I should be trying to do a little bit less and be more patient. Like I jumped the gun way too much on USA to try and get started.
I understand. It's a really common thing. You see what other people are doing, you want to replicate it,
yeah.
And so you get going and you're like, slow down, I need to do these things.
Yeah.
So hey, really interesting. And I think also what's really interesting in that journey with just the VA side is the fact that you have got 1 to 6, but you haven't actually hired. You've probably hired like 9, you've fired 3, and they're not perfect, and it does change, but you've got a really successful team now and also investing into the future, and that's something to take on board. And also by your own admission, hired very quickly and quite rapidly, and I would agree.
With no experience, yeah, just trying to wing it. I was like, it'll work out. Pure optimism.
It does eventually, but it takes a lot of grasping.
Yeah, I was pretty anxious. I'm anxious even now. But I see the sign of being anxious as a good thing, that real progress is being made. Because if you're too comfortable with what you're doing, then you might not be doing enough, to be honest.
So that's about your team, and that's really good. And thank you for sharing that. So obviously, if anyone else is looking to replicate your journey, let's talk about the finance side. You started with zero revenue, £1,500. You've talked about PayPal loans. You've talked about credit cards. You've talked about living out your overdraft. Talk me through like the last 18 months. Obviously, I'm guessing you've been reinvesting profits.
Yep.
Whereas, have you put any extra money in, loans, overdraft, for example? If so, at what times and how much?
Apart from the credit cards, I don't really put in any extra money. The thing is, when I got into printers, I doubled my money every single month all the way until February.
Wow.
But what I will say is, if you only have small capital, you do not want to be spending all your capital on 20% or 30% ROI. Because you have to put a bit of capital management in the sense that you have more time than anything else, which means you can go even wider or focus on the higher ROIs, because your goal is to scale as quick as possible, right? So let's say if you've got 100% capital available, does it make sense buying 30% ROI? Yes, because you've got 100% capital available. If you've got 40 or 30% capital available, does it make sense to spend the last of your money on 30% ROI? Then not really. The question is, can you just work more? I haven't taken any money from my Amazon business yet.
Wow.
I've moved some money from the business to USA, but really I build income streams around the Amazon business. So I can reinvest everything. I think that's a key thing to take away for people is that you focus on Amazon and then you get a lot of experience in many different areas, right? And then it's like you kind of got like a self-fulfilling circle that you can build income streams around the main business. Then you live off that, and the spare money you can put it back into the business as well. Then you can just keep on feeding the beast because Amazon is just capital. The more capital you have, the more processes and systems, the more you're going to grow. There's no need to get bogged down in only doing Amazon. You can do things around Amazon. Obviously, if you don't want to, that's fine. That's completely fine. It's up to you. But I think I'm in a position now where I could probably just live off cashback money, which sounds ludicrous.
And it's crazy because when you start, you're like, okay, I'm going to live off this Amazon business. And you're like, well, actually, no, I'm not. That's going to keep reinvesting. I'm now doing cashback.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely bonkers. Cashback is like the seventh or the eighth wonder of the world. Whichever one it is.
No, I really understand. So question for you, just reflecting back on that journey, in particular the finance side, you mentioned PayPal loan, overdraft. Are you happy to share what financing you did get and obviously the value of it? So if anyone is looking to look at yours, I know you mentioned a lot of it about reinvesting in printers, but what credit options, scaling options did you find?
Okay, cool. So the first one was 2K from PayPal, which is like 0% APR for 4 months. That was extremely useful because that was spent in like the first 2 weeks. Which when you think about that, if you get 30% off that, you just made 600 quid off thin air because it's not really your money. You're just leveraging PayPal's money to make money. The same as the Halifax credit. That was £6,800. And I think that made the biggest difference because that was gone in a week. And that was spent on 100% ROI items. So it's like, I made within the first 2 months, I made 7-8K from that. Which when you think about that, that's pretty insane. But you've got to know your margins, you got to know your numbers before you start leveraging the credit. If you jump straight into credit without knowing how your business works and if you're actually making money, then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. But yeah. Obviously not financial advice.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. And I think also the one thing we do need to say on the other side, if anyone is watching, is the fact that, with leverage, with credit, yes, you can scale, you can use other people's money, but also as well, you can lose it if you don't understand what you're doing. There is, my God, I'm sure there are products you bought before that didn't work out and you've lost money on them. Like maybe one.
I think one of the swimming pools I bought did horrendous. I must have bought 400 swimming pools. And 50 of the units, it was minus 50% ROI.
Wow.
I must have lost 600 quid.
But it does happen, doesn't it?
It's all part of the game, right? Amazon is dealing on a game of probabilities that it's gonna go how you want it to go. You can look at Keeper and analyze it, and 99% of the time you can be pretty confident, but there's all sorts of external factors that you can't control.
Definitely. And you even talked about it using sourcing software where there's a lot of other people on the deal.
Yeah.
You got a much higher chance that people...
Exactly. You can always minimize that, right?
Exactly. Completely agree. So obviously we talked a bit about VAs, we talked about scaling, we talked about using credit, leverage, and obviously your journey. So reflecting on that journey now, the last 18 months, 0 to 600,000, you started off with 1,500. Yeah. You talked even a bit about flipping printers, 100% ROI. What are some key takeaways if someone is looking at your journey going, hey Gavin, I want to be in the same place as you in 18 months. What kind of advice would you share for them?
Make more time, the first thing. And a lot of people will come to me and say they only have this much time. So my question is, okay, where's your time going? Have you ever made a timesheet to log your time? It's okay, how efficient is your time actually? Because when you're first starting out, that's so important. I'll get up at 6 a.m, start doing OA, then 9 a.m. do work, and then 6 p.m. do work. 6 p.m. after work, do OA again. It's how efficient is your time? And there's always more you can do. But I think a key component as well is we've got to hustle hard until we can hustle smart. But being able to identify when it's time to hustle smart is super important. Because if you just find yourself working more and more hours yourself and you're getting burnt out and drained out, maybe you're not scaling properly at that point. Maybe you can leverage people to then grow. But the idea of bringing on people is quite scary, right? So it's you can either talk to someone for advice or you just go ahead and do it. Because at the end of the day, it's when we think about this, it's what's the most that you have to lose? It's if it goes wrong, what's actually going to happen? 99% of the time, probably not much, to be honest. What happened when I moved to USA too early and failed or not failed, but didn't go how I wanted because I didn't have like an LLC, didn't have enough things set up, enough processes or systems or knowledge about the UK market. All I had to do was pivot back to the UK. So it's like, you're never really losing as much as you think, but you gotta be able to take some risks in some degree to push yourself further. But it's managing the risk versus reward. So what I would say to like a lot of beginners is put more time in at the start, like find out what works for you, find your own niche. Don't get too bogged down of anyone else's sales numbers because everyone is on their own journey. You're not the same as myself or you. So yeah, and capital management in terms of how much capital you've got. It's like, if you're starting like small capital with me, what I was saying earlier about going for the higher ROI items, going wider, and then just putting more and more time into it, that's super important. And also learn Keeper very well. Like, all my team is amazing at Keeper because I spend so much time on Keeper. It's like, there's one item right now that has a 40% chance of an IP complaint, and we bought about 600 units. The ROI is about 150%. The sales rank is sub 5,000 as well.
Wow.
So we've sold like almost all of them. So that goes back to saying it's a risk of probabilities, right? I know there's a chance of an IP complaint. I know competition is low because of that. So I try buying out all the stock and selling it myself.
My God, super interesting. There's something you said, thank you so much. There's something you said there, hustle hard, then hustle smart. When do you know the change? What should someone look for when they should change from hard to smart?
So it's like, what are your energy levels like during the day? Are you getting demotivated? I'm just gonna throw a number out here, but I think you can't really hustle smart even until you have enough money. Like, my personal recommendation is like, I think it's different per person, like, but I say don't get a VA until you have at least 10K spare. Because let's say you pay like 600 to get them trained, then you're paying 388, you're now down to 9K. The question becomes, okay, that's fine, but if you got 5K, then you took like what, 20% of your money away. So it gets to the point where you can't spend all your money. The objective of our business is to always spend our money. And once we can't spend our money, then we have issues that we have to resolve. Is working more the solution? In some cases, yes. Is hiring the solution? In a lot of cases, yes, but you probably just don't want to hire. So a lot of it is capital based, but it also comes down to your experience, how much money you got. Can you leverage mentorships from people and find out what their advice is for you? It's doing what you have to do, but always trying to be aware of the next stage to get where you want to go. And there's always going to be people around with you who know what the best step is for yourself. But it's being attentive to your scenario, your situation.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. So we talked a bit about the reflection, the journey, 0 to 600,000, and hey, it's been amazing. Obviously, I've been watching you, and well done. And the question which I kind of asked you is, what does the future hold? Where are you going? You talked about USA. Talking about the next year, the next 18 months.
Yeah, I want to conquer the USA, man. The USA is such a huge market and it's fantastic. I've been dabbling for a little bit. I'm training VAs now to get ready for USA, but I want to do 2 million revenue in USA next year.
Wow.
And I think that can definitely be done with how USA presents itself. But in terms of UK next year, I'm kind of playing it to see which one's the best opportunity. Because if we get started in the USA and it's just going 20 times better, then what am I going to do with the UK? Am I going to move more employees from the UK and just downsize the UK while focusing more on the USA? There's a few things what the future holds, but it's more. It's more than what it is now. It's much more than what it is now. And there is another point I want to talk on actually. So when I was doing the transition from the seasonal items to hiring all these VAs, after the swimming pools, I went through like quite an anxious period because I overhired and it takes time for the VAs to get good. And during that time, I decided to completely stop sourcing myself. No sourcing what, so I was like, yeah, exactly. I was quite scared, it was quite anxious. But the way I seen it is, if I keep putting all my attention into sourcing and doing all this other stuff, then how do I put enough attention into my VAs when I should build my team to be as good as they possibly can? So I think August was a break-even month, excluding cashback. And that was with me doing no sourcing. Then October was a bit better, but we had a few issues with Prep Center. And then November is just insane. So I cut down on the sourcing myself, no sourcing, completely employee focused, then break even in August. And then after that, VAs, the team started getting like 2-3 months experience, some 4-5, and then they just took off like an absolute rocket.
Wow. And I think the thing there to really pick up on is the fact that you made a strategic decision to let your business go in decline for the long-term success because you realized what you were currently doing was not sustainable. And I think that's a very good example of working smart, not hard.
Yeah. It's definitely an anxious one though, because you're constantly thinking, oh, did I do the right decision here? Should I still source? I'm like, nope, focus on the team.
You're watching everyone else's revenue going up and yours is going down. You're like, oh my God.
But what I really like though is that February was like 75k revenue of just pure seasonal items, of which 99% printers. November revenue was 74k of just no advent calendars, really, just pure replenishables. So I'm not even doing that much Christmas stuff. I'm just focused on building the process of getting the team and getting our niche knowledge of like the beauty market really good, and then just focusing on that. So it's like I've gone from doing 75k in seasonal items just by myself to now me doing no sourcing, my team doing it all for me. And the reality is my team is so good now that if I wanted to, I'd be in a position where I could just work on the business like 5 to 7 hours a week, because my team is becoming so competent. But obviously, like my ambition, I just want to push it further and further, so I'm still working a lot.
Fantastic. Well, hey, I think thank you so much. And if I could have just summarise, like my key takeaways, my learnings from it is 18 months, it's been a journey. It's been up and down. It's not been all plain sailings. You've had a lot of challenges and a lot of like going too fast too soon. But, I think it's summarised by initially working hard, and you demonstrated that, you talked about your time, 6 a.m. till like 8 a.m. You talked OA, but that's later on. But like it kind of shows you how you do your time management. Then I go to work, and I come back and I carry on working, always working hard. Carrying the bags, going on the tube, going up the first floor flats, ordering stuff in, grinding. And also as well, I think the really important one, which people neglect, is the fact that you talked about it as in I'm buying products to break even, to churn, because I don't want Amazon to shut me down. But also what did you do in that? You learned the whole model. Mm-hmm. You learned the way it works. You learned the numbers. You learned, that made me less profit than I thought it would. And that's really interesting. And then you started making your money doing RA, and then you moved into online arbitrage when you had too much money to spend and it was diminishing returns with RA. And going into online arbitrage, you learned about seasonal items, maybe like items affected by COVID, for example. Yep. And as a result, you were able to flip your money really well. And you were talking 100% ROI in a month, incredible. In addition to that, you're getting loans, you're getting credit cards, and this additional capital using other people's money really helped you out. And then you got to a point whereby you couldn't continue that. It was like, actually, this isn't sustainable long term, and it's gonna be you want to keep growing. You then look about getting a team. My God, it's been a challenge for the team. 6 now, but actually hired 9, fired 3. And the interesting thing was that even growing that team, you let your business decline because you had to invest in them, their training, their development. And now you're starting to really see the rewards. month 19, you're now looking to do 100k in revenue, which is absolutely incredible considering that, 20 months ago, you were just a lurker reading some Twitter.
Doing my job.
Exactly. And it's been an incredible journey. And I think, from my side and anyone watching, thank you so much for sharing and all the little snippets and the highs and the lows and what it takes to achieve that level of success. And my hat off to you, well done. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. There's always more we can do though. It's like even now where I am, I'm still certain there's more. I look at how efficient I used to be. It's like maybe even back then I was working at like 60 or 70% efficiency overall. So it's like there's always more that we can do, and there's always options. There's nobody that doesn't have the answer to our situation. It's just it's either finding the person yourself or working it out yourself.
Yeah, I agree. There's a saying I have with my team, don't reinvent the wheel. And I promise you there is nothing you're doing right now or a challenge you're facing that no one else has not already solved.
Exactly. And
it's so true. It's so true. Ironically, we keep just going through life trying to figure our way. And I'm like, the answer is already.
Yeah, we just want to feel special, don't we? Like, we're doing this unique way. Yes, only us can do this. But the reality is like, why? Yeah. Is that the best decision business-wise? Probably not in a lot of cases. And
again, that working hard and transition to working smart.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to find you, get in contact with you, what's the best way? How can they do it?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook. I think a lot of people know that I'm on Facebook. And then I'm also on Twitter. The Twitter is Gavin Sweeney with 2 Y's. So it's basically just my name with an extra Y at the end.
Fantastic. I will drop that down below if anyone is wanting to contact, so you'll be able to see links to Gavin down below. So Twitter and Facebook are good ways to contact you.
Yeah. All I will say, guys, for everyone watching this, it does not take long at all to change your life on Amazon. Once you have momentum, things move quick and you're just kind of like blown away yourself. When you first start, you might have friends telling you, mate, this ain't gonna work. I don't think you're doing a good idea here. It's not a good business plan. You keep on doing it, you struggle for a few months, keep on going, you build momentum, then within less than 2 years, you've left your job and you can live anywhere in the world. It's absolutely bonkers.
I know, absolutely incredible. And hey, a testament to you for obviously, talking the talk, but also walking the walk as well.
Thank you.
Proving it yourself. Well, Gavin, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for obviously having this interview today, and obviously sharing your knowledge, your story, and everything that you've learned as well. So, thank you so much.
Anytime. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.